a little bit of 30 weight non-detergent mineral base oil in there, and a liberal amount on the piston, the rings, the grease on the Babbitt bearings, pre-fitted on the workbench. The hole in the piston goes to the top. The notch on the rod goes to the top. And let's put this piston in here. And what you got to remember on these old engines is this is a 1926. When working on these engines, you have to kind of think 1926. This was the newest. You couldn't. This was brand spanking new, equivalent to a Briggs and Stratton, let's say, lawnmower that you would run over yonder to the Home Depot and get. It's same thing, except most likely the person that bought this engine brand spanking new, he possibly didn't even have a truck. He probably went to town and brought this engine home with a horse and buggy. So you have to think horse and buggy. 1926 was the newest automobile available when this engine was new. 1926, just think about it. When you go to putting them newfangled oils and all of this new stuff on these engines, and comparing this engine to a late model engine, there is just no comparison. There's none. There is no comparison to this engine, and I'm gonna put that throw all the way to the back, and I put those rubber things on the rod cap bolts. I got that ring right over this away, this ring over this away. I mean, you do this on the get-go, but when this engine starts up, them rings is going to move around a lot. Them rings are moving around a lot. A lot. One in, two to go. Two in, one to go. Okay, now you're going to say, oh, you should have used a ring compressor. You should have used a ring compressor. Well, what I done on a I'll show you. When there's nothing that fits right here, and when I was cleaning up this cylinder sleeve on the workbench, I rounded off that sharp edge right there, so that way the piston ring would just go right in there with ease. You know, live and learn, live and learn. Now the next what we've got to work with is up in that hole right there, and you're kind of doing it blind. Just remember what's in there, and those shims has to be matched up top and bottom. So, you know, you just get right up in there with your hand, kind of imagine what's taking place, feeling everything as you go. Rotate that either up or down, whichever one works for you, to get that throw to match up with the center of the crankshaft. And pay attention to what you're doing. Get that up in there, hold the rod both back, get that up in yonder, get that in there, make sure the top's coming on in there as it should. Make sure the rod is lined up and fitting into the. Okay, now I'm all the way to the front, and I need to drive the piston back some. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one hand up in the back of that engine, and then I'm going to drive the piston in from the other one while I'm holding that. It can be done. 1926 now. We're working. We're thinking 1926 is what year we're thinking. And just reach right around yonder. And all the time I'm guiding that rod straight up and down and keeping in mind the shims and the bolts. You want everything to, you don't want nothing to go askew at this point. Okay, that's down there. That's down yonder. Now, we had to get that crankshaft either, for me it works better on the top side, meaning to turn it this way and let the throw start coming up to the top so I can hold it from the bottom. And bring that piston on back some more. And just keep doing that until the throw gets all the way to the rear. Uh-oh. See, I moved that with my finger. I shouldn't have did that. Pay attention to what you're doing. Okay, I'm going to take these plastic things off of those bolts so I can pull them backwards and turn them at the same time. You want that flat place to line up. That went. Okay, now I've got both of them pulled backwards, and I can feel both of them. And the one at the bottom is the one that will give you problems because it wants to turn. If you leave any slack in it, if you leave any slack in it, okay, I'm going to turn a little more. And the piston. And a little more. And now me still got my hand up in there. Don't forget that. I'm holding that as it comes around. You don't want nothing to get crooked, like a shim sideways or something like that. Okay, get that back in there. Don't lose that. And that gets real close when you get up there to the top. Okay, take the hand out, and we're almost straight back. So if I come a little bit more, I can watch that right there. Right there is where I want that to be. I can work with that. So okay, now basically we're at the end of the throw on this way. That's still good at the top, the shims are, and it's still good at the bottom. Now the rod cap, I pre-greased it there. You know, we scraped that we got us some new Babbitt showing, and then I really put a really liberal coat of grease on there. The alignment goes to the top, and just get right in there and put that thing right in there. Being careful not to push your bolts out through the other part of the rod. Just kind of work it in there, and I felt that top would move. So move that one like that right there. We got them in there. And the one on the bottom right there, it takes two. It takes a little skinny bolt, little skinny nut like that, and then one of them castellated nuts with a cotter in there. And I usually I expect to take a shim or two out after this engine's run a tank of fuel or so. Fill up in there, make sure that top bolt is turned where the flat is in the notch there, and that the shims are all rotated correctly. Then we'll put this bolt on the top right there. It's kind of easy to do. About the 10th time, when you put about 10 or 12 of these pistons in, it gets kind of easy. The first one, well, that first one it's not pleasurable, I can tell you that.